Right, Carcoar in New South Wales just hit 38 degrees while Melbourne is sitting at a cool 19. That is a temperature spread you're going to see every day across the eastern states, and it's about to get even more interesting over the next 72 hours. Is your area about to cop the first significant rain in weeks, or are you looking at another stretch of dry, hot conditions? Right now, the Bureau of Meteorology has severe weather warnings current for parts of Queensland and New South Wales, affecting roughly 4 million Australians across the southeast. I am going to break down exactly when your specific location can expect changes starting in about 20 seconds. But first, chuck your location in the comments right now, because tomorrow I'll be diving into personalised forecasts for individual areas based on what you are telling me you are experiencing on the ground. The official readings are one thing, but what's actually happening in your backyard is what matters. All right, let's get straight into the timing for the major centres. Sydney, you are looking at a top of 28 tomorrow, slight chance of afternoon storms, weekend cooling down to around 23. Melbourne, steady 19 tomorrow, possible showers Friday afternoon, weekend in the low 20s. Brisbane, 31 today, 32 tomorrow. That storm chance we've been tracking is now looking more likely for Monday. Perth, you've got 34 today, 36 tomorrow, no relief until at least the weekend. Adelaide, 27 tomorrow, cool change Friday evening, dropping you back to 21 Saturday. Hobart, beautiful 19 degrees, staying stable through the weekend. Darwin, typical 33 with afternoon storms, nothing unusual for this time of year. Canberra, you are the outlier here, 26 tomorrow, but that cool change hits you hardest down to 17 by Saturday. Now, here's the thing about this pattern we are seeing. The models are showing something pretty interesting developing in the Coral Sea, and depending on which model you are looking at, southeast Queensland could either cop a decent soaking or miss out entirely. I'll get into the specifics of that in about 3 minutes, but the difference between what Access is showing and what the European model reckons is significant enough that I do be checking back tomorrow for the updated runs. Let's talk about what is happening right now across the country. The Northern Tropics, you're in your typical wet season pattern. Humpty Doo in the Northern Territory, you've picked up 178 millimetres since Friday night, and there's more coming. That is solid wet season activity, nothing out of the ordinary but worth noting. The monsoonal trough is sitting where it should be for early February, and Darwin, Katherine, that whole top end region, you can expect afternoon storms to continue through the week. But here S, where it gets interesting for everyone else. We've got a high pressure system dominating the southeast, and it's been sitting there for days. That is why places like Ipswich, Brisbane, parts of the Gold Coast are feeling like they in a rain shadow. The storms are going around you, not through you. Mount Carbine in far north Queensland, you've had 381 millimetres for January. Cairns, you're actually below average despite being in the wet season. That's the patchy nature of tropical rainfall for you. Southeast Queensland, let's be specific about what you were dealing with. Toowoomba, you've had basically nothing. Brisbane Metro, maybe 2 inches over 2 months for some of you. Gold Coast, very windy today, not a drop of rain in the northern parts. The Scenic Rim, Jimboomba, you've got a chance Monday, and I reckon that is your best shot this week. The southerly change that S coming through should trigger something, but whether it S 10 millimetres or 50 millimetres, that is what we'll know better tomorrow. Now, I mentioned that model disagreement earlier. Currently, Access is showing a low pressure system developing in the Coral Sea by Sunday, potentially bringing widespread rain to the Queensland coast Monday through Wednesday. But the European model suggests this system tracks further east, keeping the heaviest rain offshore. This 100-kilometre difference changes everything for Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast, even down to the New South Wales North Coast. Tomorrow morning as model runs should give us a clearer picture, and that S critical information if you are planning outdoor work or events early next week. Northern New South Wales, you're in an interesting spot. Taree, you had some nice rain yesterday. Coffs Harbour, URE looking at possible showers Friday. Newcastle, the forecast is showing 10 millimetres Monday, but I'd take that with a grain of salt at this stage. The storm risk for Saturday and Sunday looks low, which is good news if you've got weekend plans. The big red line west and southwest of Newcastle, that is a trough that has been sitting there, but it is weakening as the high pressure strengthens. One thing to remember from this forecast, if you're in southeast Queensland or northern New South Wales and you're desperate for rain, Monday is your day to watch. Everything before that is just positioning. Central New South Wales, Wagga Wagga, Dubbo, you're in that typical summer pattern. Hot days, warm nights, not much happening. Carcoar, you hit 38 today, expecting 22 overnight. That's pretty uncomfortable. Tomorrow is looking similarly hot before that cool change arrives. The gradient between the inland heat and the coastal coolness is creating some pretty strong winds, and that's been noticeable right across the region. Victoria, you are actually in a relatively settled pattern. Melbourne, Geelong, the temperatures are manageable. Ballarat, Bendigo, Shepparton, you're all sitting in the mid-20s. That southerly change Friday brings you down a few degrees, but nothing dramatic. The Mornington Peninsula, yeah, look, I know you are desperate for rain. The unfortunately reality is there's nothing significant on the horizon for you in the next 7 days. South Australia, Adelaide, you've got that cool change Friday evening I mentioned. Mount Gambier, Whyalla, Port Augusta, you're all tracking similarly. The fire danger has been a concern through the week, but that change on Friday reduces the risk significantly. Make sure you rechecking the CFS warnings each morning though, because conditions can change quickly. Western Australia, Perth, you're in for a hot stretch. 34 today, 36 tomorrow, could hit 38 Friday before the sea breeze provides some relief over the weekend. The Fremantle doctor should kick in each afternoon, but until then it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. Bunbury, Geraldton, you are tracking similar temperatures. Kalgoorlie, you are looking at 40 plus through the weekend. Broome, you are in your wet season, but it has been patchy. Some areas are getting dumped on, others are missing out entirely. Tasmania, Hobart, Launceston, Devonport, you're all sitting pretty. 19 to 21 degrees, mostly sunny, slight shower chances, but nothing significant. You are in your summer sweet spot right now. Here's something that has got me concerned, and this is specifically for anyone in bushfire-prone areas across New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia. The fire danger ratings for tomorrow are elevated in multiple districts. If you are in a total fire ban area, absolutely no outdoor fires, no machinery that could spark, and have your bushfire plan ready. The combination of heat, low humidity, and wind is creating dangerous conditions. This isn't about being alarmist, it's about being prepared. Hang on, let me clarify something about these temperature forecasts. When I'm giving you these numbers, I am talking about the shade temperature. The feels like temperature, especially in humid areas like Brisbane, Townsville, Cairns, can be 5 to 10 degrees higher. So when I say Brisbane S hitting 32 tomorrow, with the humidity you are looking at, it's going to feel more like 40. That S, why heat health is so important. If you are working outdoors, take breaks, stay hydrated, check on elderly neighbours. At the 3-minute mark here, if you haven't already, drop your city or region in the comments. Tomorrow I'm going through specific local forecasts based on what people are asking about, and I want to make sure I am covering your area. Gold Coast, you've been dealing with some serious wind today. That's the pressure gradient between the high to the south and the trough to the north. The wind should ease overnight, but tomorrow is going to be breezy again. Townsville, Cairns, you are in that typical build-up pattern. Morning sunshine, afternoon storms, nothing unusual, but the storms can be intense when they hit. The Sunshine Coast, you are in a similar boat to Brisbane. You've missed most of the rain that's been falling around you. That Monday system I keep mentioning, you rewrite in the potential zone for that. Could go either way at this stage. Toowoomba, I know you are frustrated. You're at altitude, you're seeing storms all around you, but you are missing out. The topography is playing a role here, but that Monday system should be broad enough to finally give you something. Actually, I should be more specific about what something means. We're not talking about flooding rain here. We were talking about 10 to 30 millimetres for most of southeast Queensland if this system comes together. Some areas could see 50 if you get under the right cell, but widespread heavy rain is not what the models are showing. It's enough to green things up, settle the dust, but it's not drought breaking. Northern Territory, Alice Springs, you are hot and dry. 38, 39 through the week. Catherine, you are getting your regular afternoon storms. This is textbook wet season for the top end. New South Wales, South Coast, Wollongong, you are sitting around 26 tomorrow. Weekend in the low 20s. Nothing dramatic happening for you. The far South Coast near the Victorian border, similar story. Queensland regional centres, let's run through quickly. Rockhampton, 33 tomorrow, storm chance Monday. Mackay, 31, similar Monday chance. Bundaberg 30, you are in that zone for Monday as well. Hervey Bay, it's humid and hot as you mentioned, 31 tomorrow. That Monday chance again. The theme here is Monday, and I can stress enough that tomorrow S model runs are going to be critical for firming up those forecasts. There is one detail that S got me watching closely, and it is this, the timing of that Coral Sea low development. If it forms 12 hours earlier than Access is currently showing, Brisbane and the Gold Coast could see rain Sunday night instead of Monday. If it forms 12 hours later, some areas might miss out entirely. This is why I am saying check back tomorrow, because this 12-hour window makes a massive difference. Western Queensland, Mount Isa, Longreach, you re-hot and dry. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic, just typical summer conditions for the outback. Let me check that again because the latest access run just came through before I started recording. Yeah, it's still showing that Monday development, but the European model has actually shifted slightly closer to the access solution. That's a good sign for consistency, but we are still 24 hours away from having high confidence. Victorian regional centres, Mildura, Uari hitting 38. Tomorrow, that's uncomfortable. The cool change takes a while to reach you, probably not until Saturday. Warrnambool, Uar coastal, Uari looking at 23, 24, much more pleasant. South Australian regional centres, the Riverland is hot. Renmark, 38 tomorrow. The southeast, Mount Gambier, Uri cooler at 25. Here's the thing about long-range forecasts. Anything beyond 5 days is really just a trend indicator, not something you should be making firm plans around. The models struggle with the specifics beyond that time frame. So when people ask me about next weekend or the weekend after, I can give you the broad pattern, but the details could change significantly. At the 12-minute mark here, last call for comments. Tell me where you are, what you're experiencing, what you are hoping for. Tomorrow's update is going to be more specific to individual locations based on overnight model runs and what you are reporting from the ground. Bit of a mixed bag across the country right now. The northern tropics are doing their thing. The southeast is dry and waiting. The west is hot. And Tasmania is just chilling in pleasant summer weather. That Australia in early February for you. The fire danger, I'm going to mention this again because it is important. Tomorrow, parts of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia are looking at severe fire danger ratings. If you're in a bushfire prone area, today is the day to make sure your property is prepared. Clear gutters, have your hoses ready, know your bushfire plan. This heat combined with low humidity and wind is a dangerous combination. For anyone in Northern Australia wondering about tropical cyclone activity, we are monitoring 2 areas, one in the Gulf of Carpentaria, one in the Coral Sea. Neither is well defined yet, but it's the time of year where we need to keep an eye on these things. The Coral Sea one is the system that could bring rain to southeast Queensland. The Gulf one is looking more likely to impact the Northern Territory coast if it develops. I'll have updates on both tomorrow. Reckon we're in for an interesting week across the eastern states. That Monday system is the key player. Everything else is just background noise compared to that. Quick word on those ants people are seeing. Yeah, ants heading to higher ground is often a sign rain's coming. They can sense the pressure changes before we can. So if you're re-seeing that in southeast Queensland, that actually aligns with what the models are showing for Monday. The overnight temperatures are worth noting too. Carqua, you mentioned 22 degrees overnight after a 38-degree day. That's pretty uncomfortable for sleeping. The lack of cloud cover means the heat isn't trapped, but 22 is still warm for a minimum. Brisbane, you're looking at similar minimums in the low 20s. That humidity doesn't help either. Right, let's wrap this up with what you need to know for tomorrow. The pattern isn't changing dramatically overnight. Hot areas stay hot, dry areas stay dry, wet areas stay wet. But we re-watching that Coral Sea development closely because that's your change maker for southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales early next week. Fire danger remains high in multiple states tomorrow, so stay alert if you are in a prone area. Tomorrow's video, I'll have the updated model runs. I'll break down that Coral Sea system in much more detail, and I'll get into specific local forecasts for the areas you've mentioned in the comments. Upload time is 5 p.m. Eastern, same as always. I appreciate everyone watching, commenting, sharing your local observations. That ground truth is invaluable for filling in the gaps between weather stations. If you are new here, hit subscribe because we do this every day, and the weather is always changing. One last thing, if those models converge overnight on that Monday rain for southeast Queensland, tomorrow's video is going to have very specific timing for individual suburbs and towns. That is the level of detail we can get into once the models agree. Right now they read close, but not quite there yet. Stay safe, stay hydrated if you're in the hot zones, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern with the